Hey guys, Joe here of the Joe Madden Sports Podcast. I'm joined this afternoon by Drew Dinsick, Bet the Edge podcast and deep dives professional handicapper. You can find him on Twitter at WhaleCapper. Drew, how's the day treating you?
Joe, it is going very well today. It's been a long wait in between these NBA Finals games, but overall, the finals have been super entertaining. And then, beyond that, just starting to get ready for football season a little bit, watching a lot of tennis. So it's been a good start to the summer, and hope you're doing well up in Calgary as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got game 6 tonight. We're going to jump into that of the NBA Finals here in a couple of minutes. First, I want to learn how you got into this industry. Where did it all start for you, Drew?
So I did not ever start doing this with the intention of being any kind of a broadcaster, any kind of a talking head in the sports betting space, especially. I just had a kind of a love for betting on sports, and had a little bit of survivorship bias, hit some good futures when I got started, and kind of gave me enough confidence to really get serious about sports betting when as I got older and had more disposable income. And then it got to the point where a lot of people were sharing their picks on Twitter. They were using it to build a community and network. And I said, okay, you know what? I have some good numbers here. I have a couple of good handicapping angles. I'll start a Twitter account. I'll try to join this community and learn some tricks, become a better player. And then from there it took off to hey, now I'm taking this very seriously. Really wish there was a podcast I could listen to that was like really covering this from someone who had skin in the game. And there wasn't really much out there. So we started that. And then, you start getting calls as it became legal in the United States. It was like all of a sudden there was, kind of a vacuum for talent, people who could talk to and talk about, handicapping and who were actually betting themselves.
Yeah.
And no one really there to do it. And so I kind of, found myself in this kind of by accident, but it's extremely fun. I absolutely love doing this. I get to meet new fun people like you all the time. And it's been an awesome journey.
Yeah, we were talking off air about how much has changed even in the last couple of years. Did you think we would get to the point where it's so mainstream, this industry, where, everyone's talking about what they're betting on games?
Yeah, I did not expect it to happen this quickly. And I think we still have a long way to go, frankly. You still watch a lot of the national broadcasts, particularly around the NFL. And the most hardcore NFL fans are obviously fantasy football players and sports bettors. And you still don't have a ton of that in the broadcast itself. So I think, that is going to continue to grow as we kind of, it becomes legal in more states. The rapid growth of kind of the the acceptability, for lack of a better word, or kind of the removing of this being sort of a taboo thing. That was awesome, number one, but it was way fast.
Okay, I have to ask this question. The first time you told someone in your regular life what you're doing on Twitter, what was their reaction to it?
Do you need to go to Gamblers Anonymous?
I kind of expected that, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a problem? No. And no, certainly, like when I started a Twitter account in 2015 and started building a following, just posting my numbers, I was doing it all anonymously. And a lot of that reason was if I met people in a professional capacity and they looked me up on the internet, I was concerned about them finding that I had a whole second life going on where I was spending, so many hours of my Sunday tweeting about NFL betting, and so it was, there were at least 3 years when I first started doing, posting numbers on Twitter, posting pics and stuff, that I was doing it anonymously because of that taboo. It was from there to now kind of, being on, being an employee of a major network and, kind of being lauded as an expert in certain handicapping fields. It's just kind of mind blowing, honestly.
Absolutely is. I'm so glad this industry has changed for the better, and people like yourself have been able to come out and be open with everyone what they're doing, because there's no shame in this industry. It's fantastic
Surely.
one to be in. What's your favorite part of it?
Well, I still sweat games, which is
Don't we all? I wish
crazy
we didn't.
because so many years into this, the actual, the actual sweat of the game itself. It has morphed, I think, because I have such a public persona about what I'm betting on and what my stake is. Which teams I'm supporting or which sides totals I'm supporting. The public facing part of it has made the kind of the rush of the gamble even more exciting, frankly. There's been times where I've taken massive losses, but happened to have done like a video post where I really supported like a really small player prop that won, and people are all giving me attaboys in the DMs and the mentions, and it's like, well, that's good. I'm glad some people got something positive out of this. Here I am staring at a giant red number. The public facing part of this and sort of that thrill, associated with, being on the right side is still the best part.
Would you call yourself an adrenaline junkie then?
Adrenaline junkie, risk taker, I think is fair. Adrenaline junkie now. I think I definitely have a reasonable grasp on what where the line is in terms of what I'm doing something because I think it's plus EV as opposed to just doing something for the thrill of it. I think, but risk taker for sure. I mean, I wouldn't be here doing this if I weren't. I mean, frankly, the fact that that I'm a public facing handicapper is testament to that.
Absolutely is. It takes a lot of courage to get here and tell people exactly where you're going with things. Now, where did the love and the passion come for sports and your competitiveness come from?
Well, I was an athlete growing up. I did. I was a swimmer through high school and college. Competed at a D1 level. It was a great experience. That was kind of my formative experience as a youth. Certainly, when you're an athlete, it's easy to really watch sports and kind of develop a love for the competition side of it. And I think it was pretty easy to pivot from, if you have a competitiveness in you, if you are a competitive, person, then handicapping is second nature because, it's one thing just to watch and root for laundry. You're just cheering for a team to win. It's another thing to, try to come up with a handicap and a betting angle that is better than the market and wins you money long term. And and I think that fuels some competitive spirit as well.
Absolutely does. Now let's talk some sports. We got the NBA Finals tomorrow night, Game 6 here. Will the Warriors close this out? What are you looking at this one, Drew?
Yeah, so I'm heavy Celtics on this series and not stopping now. I think this is a perfectly fine time to double down. You're getting a decent price. I think there are still some very, very clear adjustments that Boston can make, particularly cleaning up their turnovers, particularly running the style of offense that we saw from them when they were in comeback mode in the third quarter of Game 5, when they put away the Warriors in the fourth quarter of Game 1. That fluidity to the offense when they're passing the ball, when they're getting open looks for the role players to knock down 3-pointers is so fun to watch. And I think overall, they're the deeper team. They're the better team. They just need to avoid the knockout blow from, the superstar player in Steph Curry. And I think, he is showing some signs of fatigue. Of course, Celtics certainly didn't look fresh in that fourth quarter either. But I think there are some signs that Steph is wearing down and having a little bit of a challenge carrying the offensive load. He got a huge amount of support from his supporting cast when they were at home in Game 5 that I'm not expecting to see as significantly in Game 6. So I think Celtics win and cover here in Game 6, send it back to the Bay. And I think, I'm fine laying the 3.5 points with them for the full game. But I think the first half is an even stronger angle. There are 2.5 point favorites right now in the first half. And you may say, well, how can a team that's favored by 3.5 be 2.5 point favorites in the first half? Some places 3-point favorites.
Yeah.
But I think, the adjustments in pocket for the Celtics and how they kind of can catch the Warriors a little bit by surprise and use the energy of the crowd, all of that is real. And I think they could get off to a solid start here, get out to a good lead. And I think realistically, the team total for the Celtics is another fun way to attack it. If you're nervous about Steph Curry delivering the knockout blow here and you think that his offense could be the deciding factor here in Golden State pulling off Game 6, perfectly realistic to expect that Boston can still get theirs offensively in this one. Team total is sitting around 106.5. I think fair price there should be closer to 109. So I like team total over 106.5 for the Celtics as well.
Okay, so with you writing that over there, what are you thinking for the full game? We have seen the total go down from 210.5 down to 210. Are you looking at the over there?
No, I think that movement is correct and it makes sense to me. There are a lot of game states here where this becomes an under game, right?
Yeah.
The deeper you go into series, the more there is a premium on every possession, right? The more there is this expectation that we've seen everything the Warriors like to do offensively now. It's all out there. It's all on tape. And, so to those, the easy buckets are going to be tougher to come by. And I think, there is a path here where the Celtics, if I'm right, and they are the better team and they are running a more fluid offense and they are really putting some serious pressure on the Warriors, you could see the Warriors, pull the ripcord early. You could see a fourth quarter without a lot of Steph Curry. As they try to save him up for Game 7. So, I think there are enough of kind of a lopsided outcome here where it's a clear Boston win that there is a small edge on the full game under. But again, because I like the Celtics and what they can do from an adjustment standpoint offensively, I think just isolating that one side on the team total over makes the most sense to me.
Okay. Any player props that you're looking at for tomorrow?
Well, I don't usually play a ton of player props. It's a little, as you kind of level up in sports betting, it becomes more and more challenging to get down significant liquidity on player props. So I usually just, not to say that once you get into the NBA finals or the Super Bowl for that matter, you can get down massive amounts, right? But
Absolutely.
But in general, if my kind of philosophy is if I'm not betting it during the regular season, I can't just kind of flip the switch and, once you get to the postseason and expect to have successful results. So for those reasons, I tend to steer clear of player props. I think realistically, if you're looking at anything correlated with the Celtics performing well offensively, I think has a reasonable shot. Anything correlated with the Warriors potentially pulling the ripcord and not giving a full complement of minutes or full usage to Steph Curry, I think is worth a shot.
Yeah, unbelievable to see how poorly Steph Curry shot from the threes in that last game. What do you think was wrong? Do you think it was the Celtics just didn't give him the edge there?
Tired legs. I think when I think back to Curry in the Toronto Raptors series in the finals in what was that? Was that 2019? That long ago.
Must have been.
2019. They're taking on the Raptors, and of course, Kevin Durant was dealing with the calf injury that became the Achilles tear, and Klay Thompson was dealing with injuries throughout that series, ultimately going down with the ACL. Curry really had to carry a lot of the offensive load, and when Kevin Durant was out during the Houston series and then the Portland finals, and then into Toronto, and I think you saw a player who is an outside shooter, whose game is, he's got multiple levels to his game. He can get to the basket. He can create offense for other players. He can create his own shot. Obviously, everybody knows this. He's unbelievable in transition. But that tends to be a very, very difficult thing to scale up. When you have to be the majority of the offense, it's really, really tough on the human body. And I think what he was able to pull off in Game 4 with the, basically willing that team to the 2-2 series tie, it was unbelievably impressive. But I think it came with the cost of, wearing him down to the degree that he just wasn't able to pull it off again in Game 5. Now, was one game enough of a relief and a couple more days recouping? He's going to be fine for Game 6. It's possible. But I kind of came into this series expecting the further we get in, the more of the offensive load Steph had to carry, the more difficult, the more fatigue he would accrue as you get deeper into the series, and he would be less of an offensive factor. And I think that's part of what we saw in Game 5.
That's exactly what we saw in Game 5, Drew. Well, it's going to be a great game. Best of luck in your bets for Game 6. Now, if people are looking for you on social media as well as your shows, your podcasts, where can they find you?
Oh, sure. So Bet the Edge is produced by NBC Sports Edge every day of the week, weekdays. You can find us on any podcast feed or our YouTube channel. And then my old friend Andy Molitor and I still do the Deep Dive podcast, which is more long form. It's more for the professional players, people in the industry. And we do that on Mondays and Wednesdays. And you can find that podcast on its feed as well. And we have a YouTube channel for that. So most everything, though, will be posted on my Twitter feed at @whale_capper.
That is awesome, Drew. Thank you so much for joining me here on the Joe Madden Sports Podcast. You guys make sure you go check him out. Check out all of his shows. You don't want to miss out on his fantastic content. Drew, have a wonderful day.
Joe, thank you again for having me, and best of luck.
Best of luck to you too. Thank you.